Hello, good evening, and namaste from G100 Oneness and Wisdom Media. And here we are, all beautiful souls, sisters, gathering on this warm, I should say, Saturday evening for our monthly event, which we have been doing from a long, long time. So today again we are here with a beautiful topic chosen by our Tamil Nadu State Chair, Hartika Rajdev. I am Sudha Kumar, West Zone Region Chair for Oneness and Wisdom India. Welcome you all once again. And I'm not going to reveal the topic because it's all Hardika's platform today. She has chosen the topic and she's going to lead the panel discussion for today. So it's all yours, Hardika. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Sudha. Wonderful. A blessed evening to everyone out here. I'm Hardika Rajdev, the Tamil Nadu State Chair. And yes, today's topic is very, very close to my heart as such, because this is something I guess we all resonate to it very well. So, this month's event, From Pressure to Power, truly is a journey of how a woman turns her emotional challenges into strength. And it's going to be a very, very heartfelt conversation about resilience, about healing, and about transformation, because we are the power. We are the ones who handle the pressure, and we are the ones who know how to convert that pressure into power. So, along with all these beautiful souls as the inspiring panelists out here, today, our aim is going to be to create a safe and empowering space for every woman who's going to be listening to this hereafter, and to help them to connect, to reflect, and rediscover their inner strengths through the life's emotional challenges. Okay, so that's going to be our true vision and mission for today's this session. And I'm so thankful to all these wonderful inspiring ladies out here for giving their valuable time and their valuable insights to this beautiful audience who's going to be listening to our podcast today. Okay, so on that note, are we all ready to begin, beautiful ladies? If yes, let's have a quick energy exchange, virtual energy exchange on it. And I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. So let me start pouring the questions without, even waiting a second onto it. And my first question is for Dr. Rajeshwari. Firstly, Dr. Rajeshwari, welcome to today's session. And the question for you is, in today's fast-paced world, what are the biggest emotional pressures women silently carry? If you could just throw some light on this and some insights of yours, we would just love to hear on that. Dr. Rajeshwari, over to you. Ma'am, you are on mute. If you could just say.
Good evening, everyone. So, what we women usually face silently, you know, that is first thing is about all the stress, the rejections, the pressure of the. Sorry, I'm not able to.
Okay, we'll just hold for a sec. I think she's got some technical glitch. Just let's give her a minute on it.
Perhaps one of us can pitch in a thought here and there while she's
Yeah,
returning.
sorry, I was in middle of some talk here. So there is a lot of pressure about when a woman goes out. There's a uh, constant pressure about personal safety and of bullying or harassment. Either you say in a domestic cases, or in case of going outside in form of workplace or anywhere. Continuously, the women faces this kind of fear and stress about personal safety and harassment. Secondly, the most of the women who are working, or even at the household, they have one kind of fear about being a superwoman syndrome that is most common in most of the ladies. So this superwoman syndrome or burnout is very common. Even we as women have faced it some or other time in our life, right? Secondly, the fear of failure, where we are continuously doing things and we always think that things should go right and we should not fail. But that should not be the thing. That is one thing. And there is also a fear of inequality, so which is more common. There is a feeling of, like somewhere we are deprived of the rights in workplace or maybe in the family life. So these are some of the fears which women face all the time and anywhere.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Rajeshwari, for bringing this out to maybe people know it, but it is all within. And I think today it's come as open as to everyone on it. And I really love that bit of it. The superwoman burnout. I mean, yeah, I kind of resonate to it because when my kids were young, they used to say, Mama, you're a superwoman. And I'm like, yeah, really? I know what I'm going through on it. But yes, totally relate on that. Thank you so much for your lovely insights. Now, my next question is for our next wonderful panelist, Shikhaji. So, Shikhaji, this is a question for you. Uh, let me, I want to learn, I mean, really understand from you that how can women identify the difference between emotional stress and emotional burnout? I mean, truly, are these two separate things, or is it all the same and just phrased in something just similar? So, emotional stress and emotional burnout. So, Shikhaji, over to you.
Thank you, Hartika, for bringing that up, and I appreciate Dr. Rajeshwari for opening the thoughts so beautifully and highlighting all the areas of emotional stress that are building up, for women at different places. So, very quickly, I'm the region chair for North Zone. I think in my 24 years of experience as an L&D head and plus today as a happiness coach, I have seen women struggle a lot across a lot of areas. So I'll come to the differentiation, but I wanted to highlight that there is an emotional tax that we are paying, especially in the corporate space. So sometimes it's not a very explicit or a very dramatic kind of a emotional stress. You may also just be facing some implicit bias at work. The subtleties, the power plays that happen, the patriarchal society that we're living in, there's a lot of underplaying that happens constantly, and you're constantly in that need of proving yourself. So the amount of stress that women are going through also comes in the form of this emotional tax, right? And there is a very clear distinction between the emotional stress and the burnout. So I can clearly tell you that the first thing that you can distinguish it basis is the engagement level of any individual. And since we're talking women, it would clearly come out as somebody who's hyperactive around you. So our moms, we've seen people at the workplace, trying to prove themselves and go all out and get validation. These are signs of emotional stress because you want to be included. You want to ensure that you're addressing your, presence somewhere, and you want to constantly be out there. So like she said, you're on that constantly on wala mode, as a superwoman of 21st century. So that's one indicator. Whereas if it's a burnout, Hardika, unfortunately, you are completely disengaged because you have no energy left. Okay. So it's the complete, the other end of the spectrum, really. You may also distinguish it basis the physiological aspects. So when you're stressed out, there is immense amount of anxiety. So if I can bring out, there are some people in my very close network who are constantly anxious about, or they have a sense of urgency. ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, फटाफट we have to, get going. We have to finish this task. After this, we have to move to something else. So it may happen in your personal space. It may happen in your professional space. Physiologically, when you're emotionally burnt out, it actually breeds a lot of self-doubt and cynicism in you. So you're like, there's no point, and you have no interest, and your body is showing signs of lethargy. You're constantly facing illnesses, you are wanting to sleep more. Whereas when you're anxious, you are sleep deprived. Okay. So it's just the two very opposite reactions on your body that way. The third difference is that one has a short term business benefit result. So when you're anxious or you're a little emotionally stressed, you overdo yourself and you try to get something done also, so it can be used to some extent to get results. But when you are burnt out emotionally, it's more like a business blocker. So it's like a hard stop. There's nothing you can do about it. So I can conclude it with a simple car analogy where, you're pressing on the accelerator, you're going all ignition, when you're emotionally stressed, and there's a little bit of movement that is happening. So it's overheating, but there is movement, right? When it is a burnout, it's like you're running out of the gas completely. So no matter how much you press the accelerator, the car won't move, right? Because you're drained, you're empty. So that is emotional burnout. And I think that is a very, very dangerous situation to be in. I've seen women go through that. It's the most traumatic phase. And these unhealed emotional, burnt out stages result in a lot of difficulties for you professionally and personally. And the ripple effect comes on your family and team members too. So I think this is something that we must take a hard stop and, address it much earlier when it's in the stage of stress. And yeah, I want to bring out the fact that we are very strong women. We definitely may be termed as super women, but we have borne it all, right from making parathas to presentation. We have that zeal and that, charisma to bear it all over all these years. Okay, so I'm assuming that we have all the strategic sense to convert this into immense amount of power. And we showing up here is a proof that we've had our journeys around that too. Yeah. So thank you for giving me this chance to.
So I wanted to say something about this. So, like emotional stress, to say in simple words, it is your reaction. It's a psychological reaction. It's a physiological reaction where your mind and body both reacts to the excessive demands. These demands may be put on by others, or it may be self-induced. So that is the emotional stress, and because of that, continuously undergoing the emotional stress, a time comes when you are completely burn out emotionally. So in this stage, the women finally feel that it's not only women, even men can face this, but the lady finally feels that I have to withdraw from everything. There is a state of total apathy where bas ho gaya, you know, she totally neglects everything. She may neglect herself as well in this stage. So, now to give an example of a recent case of Twisha, that's what happened, I think, in her case. So, complete emotional burnout. And then that can be misunderstood by the family members or, in the workplace. So this has to be identified at the earliest stage to avoid many health problems, either psychological or bodily, physical health problems. So it's a very serious condition. So we should not let ourselves to undergo this emotional burnout.
Thank you so much. So I really take one thing from here, the analogy which Shikhaji gave of the car. I think that was like a simple and beautiful way. I don't think anybody will not understand what you're saying. But to add on, when she was talking from parathas to presentations, so I have a client who created her business idea while she was making chapatis. So I could so relate to that bit of it. And today only I was having a follow-up session with her, and she
Lovely.
said, "Ma'am, you know what? I figured this out when I was making chapatis." And I was like, "Oh, wow, this is amazing." And yes, Dr. Rajeshri, thank you so much for adding on to your insights and stressing on the point that we should not reach that stage of burnout. We get aware before that and start with the action steps as soon as possible. Wonderful. Thank you, beautiful ladies. And I'm sure, the insights today are going to be really, really helpful to every person out there. Right. Now, let me move to my next question, and that is for Dr. Prachi. So, Dr. Prachi, your question is, um, if you could put, give us some insights and some understanding about that, why do many women feel guilty while prioritizing themselves, and how can they overcome it? I think this is an universal question and a universal state of mind that women go through. So, over to you, Dr. Prachi, and we would like to hear it from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, lovely ladies. Good evening from rainy Bangalore. So, I think, Hardika, if I would put this answer in one line, it is like, let us start considering women as a family. We consider them as a mother. So, mummy has to do things like this. A wife is supposed to do things like this. And we all belong to the same, age criteria. And I think we all can resonate this very well, that we have been raised with a particular mindset, right? If you're a daughter, if you're a wife, if you are a sister, if you're a mother, if you are a daughter-in-law or whatever it is, this is what is expected out of you. And I think we have seen our mother doing the same thing. So the moment we come out a little, we move out of that radius, that guilt starts building up. Arey, I'm not doing the way I am supposed to do. Now the question arises, who has drawn these boundaries? Somebody else. Whether I fit myself into these boundaries, I don't know. But boundaries are there. I have been put into, it is something like, like you have tied a goat to a pole. The goat feels free. Okay, I can roam around, but she can roam around only through that pole. So we have been brought up and designed our personality have been designed in this way that we are supposed to behave in this particular manner. The moment we start losing that, we start feeling guilty. Like, I'll give you a simple example, right? I talk to my colleagues around, right? So they're like, hey, ma'am, yesterday I reached home very late. We got stuck in traffic. And you don't know what? I had to order food from home and my daughter had to eat food from outside. So what? But the coding has been done in that way, right? The system only talks about, Arey Baba, if you are a mother, you have to give home cooked, right? If you are sending a child for tuition, immediately this mother has time to teach other kids. She doesn't have time to teach your kids. Guilt start. So there are a lot of things, like which we have been programmed upon, and the moment the program of the coding goes here and there little wrong, the guilt starts building up. So I think, I hope Hardika was able to justify to your question, right? And how, she spoke about that, like car analogy. I will add one more letter as care. So sometimes I actually wrote it in the afternoon. Yeah. Sometimes, like care means, change your narrative. We don't have to feel guilty. Like, simple thing, like, even a men, I'm not telling that we don't, like post responsibilities on men like that, but I think emotionally they're a little strong. Like if we are tied to a rope within a, a confined area, they're tied to a rope in a village. So they have a little broader area compared to women, right? So I think we should change our narrative that there is nothing called as good mother, good daughter, good daughter-in-law, bad daughter-in-law. We should stop living somebody else's life. And I'm not telling my life, I don't give that gyan, but do something which suits. Instead of feeling guilty and get anxious about it and then, keep thinking about it, spoiling your emotional, physical, and mental health, just change it. And then if I talk about a rise above guilt, that's very important. I have done this mistake. So I make sure the people around me who need me, they don't do the same mistake. So there is, again, you don't have to feel guilty. It's okay if for 1 day you did not cook, 2 days you did not cook, 1 week you could not cook. You can make something on Sunday. If you could not clean the house for 2 days, doesn't matter. You can do it on third. I'm not telling be lazy or something, but you also have 1,000 things on your task. So instead of feeling guilty, plan and prioritize, right? Respect your needs. Sometimes the body's like, it's just not. See, if I talk about, like, we who are in perimenopause, or, those who are undergoing PMS, or sometimes during periods, sometimes, there is some hormonal changes in the body, or the lady who is pregnant, or there could be anything, right? Now, that point of time, we like, no, XYZ needs you, where your body is demanding you. So I think we should, like, start noticing that we also have certain needs. And last, if I talk about EE, it is empower yourself. I always believe, like, whenever I look at a women image, the first image comes into my mind is Ma Durga, with so many hands and doing multiple tasks, right? Not necessarily that we are perfect in everything. So something, if you are perfect in something, empower yourself for that. If you are not good at something, try learning it. If you can't learn, that's okay. You don't become imperfect. But stop living it. Because I think the doctors, medical practitioners in the panel will agree to me. Slowly and gradually it will start impacting your hormones and health. So yeah, that's from my side, Hardik. And thank you for this lovely question.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Prachi. I think today it's the tag that we all take back is care. So hereafter it's going to be care for everyone, but first care for yourself. So care for yourself and then care for everyone. So I think
Now
that's
I started preaching, Hardika, sorry to cut you. Always remember the rule of the flight.
absolutely.
Take care of yourself, then only you'll be able to empower others.
Empower others. Beautiful. When Dr. Prachi was really talking about this, I was reminded of Three Idiots ka dialogue which Amir Khan used. All is well. Just continue with that, and I'm sure you're going to work it out well for each of us. And beautifully, explained, Dr. Prachi. Thank you so much on that. I'll go back to Shikhaji again. So, Shikhaji, I have a question for you. Like, it's guilt, right? It's burnout, it's stress. Okay, so we have the problem statements, the problems in front of our eyes. So, Shikhaji, if you could throw some light on that, how important do you think is emotional healing for personal and professional growth, irrespective of whichever level you are, especially maybe at a professional level, at a leadership role? How important do you think is emotional healing? Since we have, the problems in front of us, now I really want to throw light, all of you, to give some insight, some tips, something that all the women out there can do to feel empowered, to experience care in their life. So, Shikaji, over to you on that.
Lovely question, Hadika, and thank you for putting this across after Dr. Prachi's insight, because I was so urging to, barge in and share some more thoughts on that. I want to do a little more build up on what Prachi mentioned. When we're talking about care, we're talking about these emotional, the spectrum that a woman is going through. I think essentially we are naturally gifted, as women, as opposed to the males. We have an ability to understand, reflect, and hence our EQ relatively fares out better, which was proven during the pandemic phase. Most of the women leaders fared out way better under pressure as compared to our male leaders. So I think that's a natural instinct, a strength that we all possess, and we must see it from that outlook. So I wanted to change the dimension from the victim poor woman to the fact that we're extremely powerful and gifted as women, right? We have the ability, the natural instinct to do it all, brave it, and also come out of it stronger than ever before, especially during maternity, when women are really put down and we're seeing them as somebody who's struggling with raising a child. I'm like, hello, these are women who are actually coming back after an intensive leadership program, if you were to ask me, because I'm a training head. I have operated like that with people across, and I've seen these women come back with more energy, more resilience, and more empathy, better than I can train people in any leadership program. So it's high time that we see women from that perspective. That is one. Coming down to your question, when we're talking about healing, I think it's critical that we realize that it's not a frill. When you're talking about emotions, it's not a frill. It's the hardcore hardware of any organization. So we usually look at it from a software upgrade. We have to teach them soft skills. You have to ensure that you talk about communication skills, build their different aspects. But emotional resilience and talking about these aspects really is like the brain capital of your company. So when you're addressing it, you're addressing that underlying glitch in the operating system of your company. So I must reiterate that this is the best and the biggest competitive edge that any company can have, because this brain capital is your asset, right? So when you're talking healing, when you're talking emotional regulation, we're actually addressing that strata of your company. So it makes complete business sense for any organization to dive right in and talk about it and do more around it. It is proven through facts and research that if you are emotionally regulated, for your efficiency in terms of your outcome increases by 41%. Most of the decisions that we're taking, if you're unhealed, if you are a person who's dysregulated emotionally, imagine what havoc happens. At workspace, I've seen people just blasting their teams right, left, and center and saying, why don't you come up with ideas? I'm like, hello, you have put them in a corner, face them against the wall, and now you want ideas. It will never come through. So the irony of life is today that we don't understand when emotions are dysregulated, what is the repercussion that will happen on your team members. So I've seen it all in my 24 years that leaders will stand there, request people and actually command people to come up with better ideas or better productivity. And it just works in the reverse direction. So as per research, one leader who is dysregulated costs almost $15,000 annually to the company in the form of poor productivity, people conflicts, and attrition. Okay, that is the amount of cost that we are paying already for not healing, for not putting in our time on, addressing these aspects within a corporate setup, right? So emotional regulation makes a lot of business sense. Unfortunately, we're not reading about it. We're not doing as much work around it. Almost 127% jump is possible when you're looking at building high EQ within your organization. So I think it's time that we look at it from that perspective. Even the burnout can go down by 50-51%. So these are all research facts. It's scientifically proven. And yet we're not looking at it as a strategic move. We're not looking at from that perspective, we're not treating that subject. Still it's like a wellness driver, so we'll take care of it at some point in time, is the mindset that stakeholders still have, unfortunately. And when you're healing yourself, you really have to go through the process of, this is highly trainable. Okay, emotional resilience, emotional agility is a trainable metrics. We can work around it. We can take people through it. So this is another myth that I want to burst, that it is an innate trait. EQ is an innate trait and people are gifted with it. So empathy cannot be taught. So it's not something that is soft. It is not something that's not trainable. You literally can take people through it and build that muscle, over a period of time. Give them simulations, give them opportunities where they come up with these demonstrations. So it's a very, very powerful thing. I've noticed a lot of people who are not healed, throwing the entire team out of productivity. So I can quickly share an experience with you. There's this one leader who I was managing through a leadership program. And at all points in time, whenever I would sit down across the table and share a psychometric tools feedback with him, or actually talk about any observation, he was completely defensive. So you'd be like, no, I know my job, I know my work, I've worked for 20 years. Who are you to tell me what to do? You know, so usually people who are not emotionally healed or regulated or are low on EQ end up being very defensive, and their decisions are driven through fear, right? Through the need of validation. Now, the how you're projecting yourself changes, right? The entire team was operating out of fear, and they were not coming up with ideas. Do you see the ripple effect that happens when you're not healing emotionally? So he had his own trauma, he had his own problems, which opened up later during the process, when I had more heart to heart with him. But the fact of the matter remained that there was constant pushback to every feedback, and no cognizance of what was happening to the team and what was the outcome. The desired outcome was more productivity, but that was not happening anyway. And yet he would not step back. Yet he would not, look at the ground realities really. So it's not about male or female. This can happen to anybody. But the fact is, when emotional healing is not done, your ability to anchor to the present moment is zero. Your power lies in that presence. So when you are emotionally regulated, your presence is better off. Your ability to connect enhances, and hence everything that you're trying to do is more authentic. You're basing it on trust. So automatically the results will come through. And when emotional, healing is not taken care of, then things will completely go berserk and haywire. And obviously, you will keep shouting and doing different rounds of meeting and not yield anything, especially not creativity. You can't put a gun on somebody's head and say, "Be creative." So that's the importance of healing. I think it's very, very important that we deal it with a lot of sensitivity and maturity across corporates today. I think that's all that I'd like to say, and also end it with another very important, realization I've personally had. Because through my journey, I've also, as a woman, gone through a lot. I've had my ups and downs. I've had these emotional traumas personally as well. I've seen that it's important to pause. If you're not pausing, you don't even get time to heal. So that always on thing doesn't help. You have to ensure you're taking breaks. It's important that you address it and you also articulate your needs. When we're not articulating our emotional needs, I think that is another time where most of our women, suffer a lot. And that is where the stress starts to mount up and might lead to burnout. So not being able to draw boundaries and not being able to articulate your emotional needs is something that does not allow that regulation to happen, right? So all this will address your emotional needs, eventually build that emotional muscle, which will give you the agility to manage any chaos in life, and actually allow you to operate out of your power and presence. So that's it. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shikhaji. So I guess today our audience is going to go with handful of tools, suggestions, insights, all of it. As she said, articulation plays a very, very vital role when you really, because suppressed emotions do affect. As a healer, as a coach, I totally resonate with that, because when we suppress our emotions, suppress our thoughts, our feelings, that's where we are, very badly denting our aura, emotional body, our mental body, and our physical body. So beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'm loving the conversation, and I'm sure you guys are also enjoying others too. So, on this note, my next question is going to be for Sudha. So, Sudha, Shikhaji spoke about the power skills, the soft skills as such. She touched upon that bit of it. So I would like to, this question is for you, and I would like to understand this part of it, that do you really feel that emotional suppression to a larger extent does affect women's confidence, maybe at workplace, and most of the time at workplace and at home, and to a larger extent, the health and the relationship? So do these things really affect all these bit of it, all the areas of our life? So Sudha, over to you, and we would love to hear it from you now.
Yeah, it's actually related to what we all spoke just now, and I would say it's not only workplace, even at home also. I would like to give as we were speaking that this example came to my mind. This movie English, Sridevi. We all have seen how she emerges as a confident lady from that withdrawn personality at home. All that happened because at home also, it's not even at workplace. You see many women at workplace, they are smiling away, laughing, very chirpy, but behind that smile, behind that chirpiness, there is a soul suffering. Because at home there may be in-laws are there, husband himself or children, who don't consider you as like a confident person. They feel that you don't know anything, you're not confident enough to do any work. Forget about the workplace thing, but otherwise. So that's a beautiful example where we see that children, they themselves, they make fun of her. They say that you don't know how to speak, you don't know how to handle yourself. So what happens with that is emotionally you are withdrawn, and you feel you're not confident enough to do any work. You're not able to, you won't be able to go out and speak to others in front of others. It may be not just speaking about yourself, doing any work over there, but in many areas. So you are withdrawn, your confidence levels goes down. So emotionally you are all like we all spoke, we are burnt out, right? So this happens a lot, even at home also, even at the workplace also. And finally, what happens? All those built in emotions, they lead to the health issues. So everything, it's like the pressure cooker. Everything is under pressure, and suddenly you are blast. It comes out. So it leads to health issues also a lot. So all these have to be released. All these have to go out, and people at home, they have to see that what you're doing to the person who is handling everything at home. She is a mother. She is like Dr. Prachi said, like we are acting like Ma Durga with 10 hands, right from the morning till we sleep. We are taking care of each and every person at home. We are giving whatever possible. I mean, we are going beyond our limits, I should say, and to do everything possible. So all that is happening, and when and what we need, what every person needs at this time is the support from home, support at workplace, because without that support, it becomes very difficult for anyone to handle that pressure. So it's very important to have that support at home and at workplace, and emotional pressure really leads to even health issues. And personally, I know few of my friends who have gone through this phase, and like they're very chirpy outside. When you look at them, when you meet them outside, you don't even feel that they're going through so much at home, because their own children are not giving any. They feel after like when you hear about their stories, they feel like you feel why such things happen at home, you know. So it's very important that at home we get a lot of support, so that we don't go through all these emotional pressure, and it's taken care of.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you.
Just want
Thank
to
you so
add one
much.
thing very
Yes.
quickly, because somebody pointed out menopause, So I just want to bring out the fact that sometimes when you're expressing your emotional needs also, it is misinterpreted and mocked at as a menopause
Yeah,
phase, which I would really urge people to be sensitive towards. Not everything that a woman talks about, especially during this phase, is a result of her being in the perimenopause or the menopause phase. There are genuine emotions, there are genuine emotional needs, which I think all folks around her should be sensitive and address it. Just the way she addresses everybody's needs, I think it's important that we respect that woman's, articulation when she puts it out there, and not assume it to be a hormonal side effect, so to
yeah,
say. I just wanted to clarify that.
Can I add one more thing, Hardika, here?
Yes, yes, of
See,
course,
it is
Dr.
not,
Rajan.
it is, I agree, like family plays a very important role, but sometimes the burnout or the guilt could be because of the family, right? So I believe in supporting circle. Like, a woman has to have, a supporting circle around her, like how we have this beautiful platform, right? Where while talking, I think when we talk about various topics every month, a lot of it comes out, right? So I think we all should have a supporting circle, like like they say, like aurat ki dushman hoti hai types. So I think we should try changing that aspect, and we should start supporting each other. It's very important, because as a women we understand the hormonal imbalance or the hormonal changes compared to a men. Now, I'm not telling they're not sensitive, but yeah, comparatively to, because we ourselves face it. So I think support circle also makes a lot of difference.
Bang on. Thank you. Thank you so much. So ultimately, it is care and now support. So support just doesn't mean looking out for the near and dear one's support, but you will surely find those kind of energies who will help you to, like literally go up in life, go out there and fight the battle and come back. So I think that's like beautifully taken. Thank you, Sudha. Thank you very much. And thank you for adding on onto that, Dr. Prachi and Shikha. Now, I heard somebody, I think it was Dr. Prachi only, who said that yes, we are that literal Durga Ma ka roop with those multiple, and every Women's Day, I think we all receive all of these images saying that Happy Women's Day onto bit of it. So yes, whether it's a man or a woman, each one of us go through different phases of our lives, right? And this question especially now goes for Sri Vidyaji over here. And Sri Vidyaji, what I would really like to understand here is, how can women actually build that emotional resilience during these different phases of their life? Okay, it's very easy to just show an image. Oh, okay, एक हाथ में बेलन, एक हाथ में लैपटॉप, एक हाथ में बच्चा, एक हाथ में दूध का बॉटल. It's very easy to show that, right? But then somebody living through it, okay? And whereas we are a combination of the masculine and the feminine, the Adi Shakti energies are there within us, in every soul. But still, can you give us some light on what could those things be, where we can really build that emotional resilience by ourselves into different phases of our life, whether it could be a career pressure, motherhood, a divorce, whatever it could be, because everybody goes through that bit of it. So over to you, Srividyaji.
Yeah, thank you, Harvika. And thank you, all the panelists. So we have been talking about a very, very meaningful and sensitive topic, and so many insights. Okay. And let me just introduce myself first before I answer your question. I'm Srividya Mohan, G100 Oneness and Wisdom Mumbai City Chair. I'm a mindfulness trainer and an emotional intelligence coach. I help, and helping parents is my main area of work. Now, to answer your question, I think the answer lies in your question itself. How can women build emotional resilience? I would answer it in a general format, because men and women both need emotional resilience, right? So it's not particular to just women. Build. How do we build something? We don't build a mansion just like that. We build it brick by brick. So the first thing we need to understand is, it has to happen brick by brick, one step at a time. But yes, how do we arrange it? How do we move? Okay. The first thing, I'm extremely sorry and apologies if I am going a bit tangent to what has been said. I would say, hit the delete button to the Ma Durga with all the hands doing all the work. We just need a woman with two hands who can juggle between jobs, not multitask. Hit the delete button. That is the first thing. First brick is that self-help is the best help. Now, how do we do self-help? Brick by brick. First thing, whenever we know so many things are happening around us, okay? So when things happen around us, it has an effect within us. So when something is happening within us, emotional stress, emotional burnout, there are things happening around us. Okay, so we know we are in a situation. So that is when we need to build. Okay. First thing we can do is we need to train ourselves to listen and talk both. If we only listen, okay, we will forget talking. We will go into a withdrawal mode. Any conversation with anybody, for all of us, okay, not only when we are on emotional distress, anytime, listen and talk. We need to hear what others are saying. We need to tell what we want to say. Both are equally important in any conversation. Be it as a mother, as a career woman, or as a teacher, as a neighbor, anybody. Both go hand in hand. That is the first brick. Are we listening? Are we talking in any conversation? Then it is complete conversation. Okay. And the next is help others when asked for. If we decide to troubleshoot, when do we troubleshoot? For us to troubleshoot, we need to identify trouble. So our focus is to look for trouble. Okay, trouble here, trouble with this person, trouble with that person, anything. It is good to help, but help others when it is asked for. Sometimes people just need our presence. People just need a listening ear. They're not coming up to us for a solution because everybody have their own solutions. So help versus troubleshoot, there should be clear distinction. And this, especially as mothers, as wives, we always troubleshoot because that is a form of expression that I care for you. Okay, I see you're in trouble. I want to help you. It's completely okay. The thought is correct. Intention is genuine. But the result will happen when we help, not troubleshoot. There is a huge distinction. We need to understand. That is the next brick to build emotional resilience. Because then we will not have emotional burnout. Otherwise, we just cannot be troubleshooting everybody's life. Then, communication. Learn, we need to improve our vocab. Okay, simple example. We easily say, I'm angry, or that person is angry. Anger has got different variations. Okay, it starts with discomfort, then irritation, then annoyance. Okay, then the last is rage. So, but we use the word anger very, very easy because that is our limited vocab. Okay, from our mother tongue to English, we have all moved on. Even in our mother tongue, we know only some words. So, when we are communicating, think, am I really angry or am I annoyed? I'm just giving an example of anger. It could be sadness also. Discomfort, sadness. Pause, think, and then use the word. So what happens is, when you say I'm angry, our body responds in a particular way. Whereas when I say I'm annoyed, that's a different way. Okay, the brain releases neurotransmitters based on our feelings. So we need to improve our vocab list. It's very easy. We can just go now. The ChatGPT is there, internet. Let's make use of the technology, improve the vocab, and practice some phrases in communication. Simple. I'm just giving 3-4 examples, phrases, which I tell all the parents, all the people who come to me for coaching, and it helps a lot. First part always starts with, I heard you. It is not, I understand. We cannot understand. We cannot be in somebody else's shoes. Okay. We can hear. We can only hear them. Okay. I heard you. Sometimes we may not agree. Okay. Motherhood and divorce, all these things come wherein the clash point comes. Even then, we can always say, I heard you. I don't agree. It's very important that we put our point through. That is again coming back to the first point, listen and talk. I heard you. I don't agree. We can actually practice this phrase. The next phrase is, I heard you when we are not sure about it. I need time to think. There is no harm in asking for time because that is the best pause. But we have to acknowledge, validate, I heard you. It's always first, I heard you. Whether to our children, to our peers, or to our husband, this will work. I heard you. Half the tension is gone over there. Okay. I heard you. I need time to think. Instead of saying, no, this is not right, this is not wrong, this is wrong, I'm not comfortable about this. We are not judging. There is no right or wrong. I'm not comfortable about this. I'm not sure about this. So these are some vocabs which would help us to build emotional resilience. And the last but not the least in communication, okay? So many times it happens, people come and talk to us, okay? If we actually think, either they are giving suggestions or opinions or they are giving statements. And we also counter respond. Why? So this says, I've done this quite a lot, and sometimes it annoys people, but then they start realizing it. Okay. So we listen. Okay, yeah. And then they ask, so why you're not saying anything? So the question, the way I respond is, yeah, I heard you, but what is your question? Sometimes there is no question. Correct? They're just sharing their opinions and suggestions. We don't have to give any comments on that. We just need to hear. So these are communication practices which would help us to be calm. That emotional resilience is what? Not getting affected by it. The storm is going to be there. How do we protect ourselves? So brick by brick is what we do. The second is seek professional help when it is required. Talking to a friend is very different from talking to a coach or talking to a counselor, because they're trained professionals for that. Anything regarding career, a coach can help you. If it is divorce, motherhood, or the loss of a closed one, counselor. Seek professional help. Put that, that has to be priority. Most of the time, this here, I would say women, especially they would spend on umpteen number of things, but when it comes to taking help, it is like, fizul ka kharcha kyun? Okay. No. When we have an infection, we go to the doctor, right? We don't take a friend's help. Friend ne jo dawa diya, maine bhi liya. We don't do that. So emotions are also very different. And last, but the third point is, you're on mute, Hardika. You're saying something? Okay. And to conclude my answer to this question, how do we build emotional resilience? Brick by brick, where understand when we need professional help, communication, and then shift from emotion to I motion. Most important thing is to be in the move. Okay, so that we don't withdraw. Take each day small steps, required action for today. Completed, not completed, that's a different thing. But there has to be an action plan for every day. So our 24 hours plan is something which we should have. These 3 steps would definitely help us to build the emotional resilience. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sridevi. I mean, truly, brick by brick, you have literally taken us to build it. I was actually visualizing it that if women start, taking these small steps, I think they can really do wonders for themselves. And you so beautifully, explained it in a very simple, impactful, and step-by-step manner, which I think it's ready for implementation. It's that way which you've done it for all the audience of ours out there. So beautiful. Thank you so much on that. So my next question is for Dr. Archana. So Dr. Archana, I know you've been waiting here for quite some time, but this is a very, very important question for you. And the question for you is, in what ways does society condition women to adjust instead of express? I think this is another word which we've heard all our life. Adjust karna seekho. So truly your insights on that, and a strong message to every woman out there that how important it is to express rather than adjust. So over to you, Dr. Archana. Really looking forward to hear to all you from here. Thank you.
So thank you, Hardika, and I hope I got your name correct. And and good evening to all my soul sisters out here today. I'm seeing you after a long time, and it's giving me immense pleasure. Before answering your question, which is, of course, related to the main theme of this discussion, moving from pressure to power. I find it much more easier to relate to that, the main thing. And of course, the question asked by you will also get answered. But in this, my case, I'd like to take you on a journey, and by opening the pages of a book, which I term as the book of my life, the book of my life. So instead of talking in a very general sense, I would like to personalize it because I believe in that. I mean, when we talk about things happening in our own life, uh, we are better able to connect with others. So I would definitely like to say in what way I moved from pressure to power. In what sense? We all can do that from time to time. So you see, there is a general feeling that we often mistake silence for weakness. That is a general assumption. But for many women, silence actually is crucible where the strength is forced. I grew up in a very sprawling, boisterous joint family. So in a sea of loud voices, my quiet nature went unnoticed. And the background became my comfort zone and harbor of peace, you can say. But the world outside, they do not always respect this quiet harbor. So to survive, I had to break out of my cocoon. I forced myself to step into a world that only acknowledges you when you make yourself seen as well as heard. So true strength, however, does not, imply that you keep on speaking. It is also about standing firm with your conviction. So, while others sometimes lean on dependency, I choose to be very resilient in my conviction. And well, I've had to face a lot of challenges in my life, both in the personal and the professional front. And I'm always grateful to the divine for giving me this opportunity because I consider them as, learning experience, which has helped me evolve into being a better human being. And the ultimate taste of my strength actually came with my marriage. I entered a huge joint family, but this time I was the outsider. I was the outsider, and my sister-in-laws were much older and world apart in understanding me. And probably I may be weird to them. I may have seemed to be weird to them at that point of time. No longer now, of course. They have accepted me for what I am. So when my husband was the youngest in a family, a huge joint family, and he was a little pampered also. So when personal or professional challenges, mounted, I realized I could not lean on him for any kind of support. So emotional pressure was definitely immense. And I again was isolated in a very crowded house. Yet the lessons from my own childhood grooming anchored me. I did not slip into despair or resentment. Instead, I looked inward. I balanced a demanding college teaching job, uh, a commitment actually which I had made to my father and to myself also about being able to retain balance in both the fronts. So I carried on in the professional front very successfully, and I raised two children also, both grown up, now married. One has become a doctor. My daughter is a doctor. She's in UK now, and my son is a computer engineer. Both married off. And now when I look back, I personally think that all the challenges which I had faced in my life were actually tools which were helping me, to grow, to evolve, as I mentioned earlier. So I became my own advisor, my solving complex, emotional, and all the situational riddles all of us face from time to time as we go through life. So, in conclusion, what I would like to say, because I know we have a time constraint here, the book of life is demanding, teacher, but its lessons are permanent. Looking back, I realize now that the emotional pressure, the isolation, and the constraints were not punishment. They were actually blessing in disguise for me. So women do not inherit strength. We build it up from the very pressure, the very punishment meant to crush us. So by navigating these storms alone, I did not just survive, I grew inwardly as well as outwardly. I turned those years of pressures into a foundational rock, achieving the one goal we all ultimately aspire to: a stable, resilient, and a happy family. And I'm happy in the true sense of the term now. Thank you.
Wow, that was so beautiful, so beautiful. Truly, very, very inspiring, Dr. Archana. Truly, very, very inspiring on that.
I
And you
just
know
want
what
to
yes,
add
yes,
one sentence over here. See, when you are working, like Dr. Archana said, now she has balanced her professional life and the personal life and all that. So when it happens, when you are transforming from a homemaker to become a professional, then the transition is very, very hard. Because for a certain part of a life, you are totally dedicated to home, bringing up children, thinking that that is the world, and बच्चों को घर पे स्कूल में छोड़ना लेके आना, that is the whole thing you are doing. Now suddenly when you decide, no, I want to do something on my own, that's a big challenge. How to balance, because all these years you have been doing only house work, being a homemaker only, and then now you want to transform yourself to become something. You want to work for your own thing, or create something for your own. Then because I faced that kind of a challenge for myself, that's I just wanted to add on that part.
beautiful.
It becomes very difficult to
Truly agree.
balance both.
Truly agree. And you
Actually,
know what I
actually, Sudha,
really
I would like
like
to,
what
I,
Dr.
I would
Archana
like to
was
add something more here. Sudha,
yeah.
I would like to add something more here. You talked about these being a great challenge and all. Well, I do agree, but I was not aware of it, or I rather did not look upon it as challenge, because I got married and I got my job at the same time.
Okay.
Both, I was new to both. So I took each day as it came, and I learned from every day. I learned from every day was a new day for me, a new experience for me. And I went on learning, got myself promoted from class to class, and finally took my degree into a STEM part.
Lovely,
It's
lovely.
the
So
learning only.
nice.
It's the
So
learning for all of us.
yes, this truly gives us a new perspective of looking at our own potentials, actually. Where we figure out ourselves to be victims, but actually we can change that victim state of mind into a victory state of mind, that disempowerment into empowerment, and truly that pressure into power. So, on this note, to all the beautiful souls out here, thank you so much for giving your precious time, your insights, and every bit of it. Because I think today's synergy, though we are virtual, but I think today's synergy is to its highest vibration of helping. Together, we are here to remind every woman that the pressure is not the end of their story, but it is eventually the beginning of their new chapter. And they should write that new chapter, because when a woman heals, they rise. When they rise, they inspire generations, is what I strongly believe in too. So, on this beautiful note of inspiring, being inspirations, right, to those beautiful people out there, once again, thank you so much to every soul out here for being here, giving your valuable time, energy, insights, and all of it to our beautiful audience out there, right? And thank you, Sudha, for giving me this wonderful opportunity, because this was a topic that was, has been running in me for very long, to take it onto a, an open platform. And which other better platform we would have got to reach to millions of souls out there. So thank you once again, everyone. Good night and have a beautiful weekend. Thank you. Bye bye.